Hi, everybody. This is Never Seen It, a podcast about movies we haven't seen yet. My name is Trent. I'm here with my wife, Betsy.
Well, hi diddly ho.
Today, Betsy, we are watching... Wow, I cannot believe I've never made you watch this movie. We're watching The Simpsons Movie.
Yes, we are.
After how many Simpsons references across so many different episodes.
It's almost up there like the Star Wars references.
It's up there. It is up there because we watched all the Star Wars movies that are out there so far. But no, Betsy, we're watching The Simpsons Movie because, good God, you haven't seen this movie. And I haven't made you watch it yet. So, guess what? I just found this out like a month or two ago.
That I had never seen this movie?
Yeah, we were talking about this, and it's like, where can we fit this in? Where can we fit this into our schedule? And finally, between a series and watching...
The next series.
Watching Casablanca... The natural transition from Casablanca is clearly The Simpsons Movie. So... Betsy, we'll do the normal thing. What do you know about this movie?
So this is not the first movie that has been adapted from a television show, and specifically a cartoon. This is definitely not the first. It will not be the last. Yep. They did it with South Park. They did it just recently with Bob's Burgers. Yep. However, this is the movie that languished in development chaos forever because it was almost 30 years of this TV show being on the air before this movie finally saw the light of day.
Decades it had been in development. At some point, they actually did have Phil Hartman cast as one of the characters in this movie.
Yeah, because
that's how long it was in development.
They probably had planned on a movie after the first 5 seasons.
Yeah.
And then for whatever reason, it just never happened.
Just languished.
And by the time it finally rolled around, I feel like so many people had just kind of moved on from The Simpsons that I don't really know that anyone cared that much except the truly true diehard Simpsons fans.
Yeah, and I don't even really remember my history with this movie because obviously it came out before you and I were together. We met in 2011. This movie came out in 2007. I don't think I saw this in the theater. I think I might have waited till I got it on Blu-ray.
Probably.
Because this was one of those movies that I would absolutely need to own because at the time I was still collecting a lot of the DVD seasons they were putting out. Mm-hmm. I don't do that anymore because all of that is
all streaming.
Yeah, it's all streaming now and I have them digitally. So I remember being okay with this movie. I don't remember loving it.
Okay.
And me being a pretty big Simpsons fan, I am a fan. I would say when you ask a Simpsons fan, where did you fall off? Because you all fall off at some point.
The number of people that have been watching this show since 1989 continuously is a very small bunch.
Yeah. So I would say I fell off after season 10, giving a shit about The Simpsons. There are some good episodes after season 10. I'm not saying that it just became terrible, but that is the core of my fandom.
Yeah, meanwhile, I didn't watch a lot of The Simpsons growing up. It was one of those shows that was kind of a no-no in our house, but we watched it anyway, let's be honest.
Sure.
It was in syndication by the time I ever discovered it. I watched it time and again, but I was never like you where it was every Sunday night watching it brand new.
And that's not even me. I didn't really discover The Simpsons until I was in high school, college.
Okay. So I probably actually saw it before you ever watched the show.
Yes, on any kind of regular basis anyway, because I started investing in the DVD seasons when that first started to become a big thing in the early to mid 2000s. Mm-hmm. So that's how I got into it, and that's how I learned a lot about the history of the show, because back in the day, the creators and writers and animators of the show would all sit down and do a commentary about every single episode. Mm-hmm. They don't do that anymore.
No, because most of the original content creators are gone.
Yeah, it was a lot easier.
They've moved on.
It was a lot easier to bring them back.
Conan O'Brien. He went on to many different things.
And they did get Conan on for one of those commentaries.
Nice. So yeah, I have knowledge of this show. I was never somebody who watched it religiously. I watched it mostly because it tended to be on right before the X-Files. I watched the X-Files when it was on in the 90s. So
Fox was big.
I would say Sunday Night Fox, that is the only time that I really watched The Simpsons, was when it was the lead up into the X-Files, because that was the primo show time. As far as the movie, I just kind of couldn't give two shits about the movie when it came out. I had better things to do. I was in college, and because I really was not that invested in the show when it was on, it didn't matter to me.
You were graduating college, so you had things on your mind.
Yeah, and so when we started dating, I don't even really know how the Simpsons thing came up. We just kind of put it on as a background show, and we watched a good, 3 seasons worth of episodes.
Yeah.
Just something to put on during dinner. And that's really as far as we ever got. But there's a few things that you have pulled up. Like, here's a random episode from season 7 and we watch it. Right. Here's a random episode from season 10 and we watch it. So I know enough culturally about The Simpsons to know what we're about to get into. As far as the actual content of the movie, my assumption is it is a 90-minute Simpsons episode. I'm pretty sure Spider Pig comes from this. And you made me watch the introduction because Green Day is in it and they sink into the ground or something.
I forgot I showed you that. Yeah.
You made me watch the first 10 minutes, I think, of this movie.
All right.
But that's kind of what I'm assuming this movie is. Will I like it? We'll see.
All right, Betsy. Let's go and watch The Simpsons Movie. We will be right back. We are back. That was The Simpsons Movie. What did you think of that?
So apart from the fact that you see Bart Simpson's little cartoon peen, this is exactly like any other episode of The Simpsons. Like, you would think for being in development hell forever, there would be more to it, or it would be packed with cameos, but this show is always packed with cameos. Almost every single week they have some guest on an episode of The Simpsons. So it was fine. I giggled. It is exactly what I thought it would be.
It's a long episode of The Simpsons.
Yes, it is.
But a good one.
Yeah.
So I always think about this movie in that, okay, what's special about it? What are you not getting out of a regular episode of The Simpsons? You are getting the one, the only, Albert Brooks.
Yes, he has been in a handful of episodes.
And those are some of the best episodes ever.
You made me watch one a few weeks ago because you were scrolling through Instagram and there was a clip and it was the dumbest line of dialogue and I didn't have any context and it just made me cackle. And we ended up watching the whole episode. You pulled it up on your phone and streamed it immediately.
It was like 11 o'clock at night.
You're an insane person. But yeah, he just gets in there and just starts riffing and they go with it.
Yes. The episode we're talking about is the Hank Scorpio episode, and the clip I saw was Homer going up to him near the end of the episode and asking Hank, "You got any sugar around here?" And he goes, "Sugar, sure." And he puts his hands in his pockets and he pulls out a handful of loose sugar crystals
from his pockets
and he says, "Sorry, it's not in packages."
Like it's nothing.
Like it's nothing. Those are the best episodes. Albert Brooks is probably the best guest actor that they've ever had on that show.
Because he understands the absurdity of what he is a part of.
And like half of the dialogue that gets included in his episodes, and I'm sure in this movie, are all ad-libbed.
Well, yeah,
he's just that fucking funny.
Here he is playing a billionaire corporation owner who has been assigned head of the EPA.
Correct. By President Schwarzenegger.
President Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yep.
And there is a sequence where he's talking about bringing in the troops, and he's describing them as the tough ones, the thin ones.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember the word he used, but he was like tough, soft, tough,
Yep, soft.
tough, soft, tough.
Yeah.
That order. I want them lined up in that order.
I need 1,000 tough guys and also 1,000 soft guys just to make sure that the tough guys look tough.
But you have to position them in
this
order.
And of course, I'm sure that is completely off the cuff from him.
Oh, probably. But frankly, he should be in this movie more than if you're
really
if you're
should.
gonna get him on board.
Yeah.
And as I said, you just need more cameos and more voices and more. It could have been. It's 80 minutes.
Okay, I get that, but if you were to do that, it just becomes the cameo fest, and it detracts from the rest of the movie and is a distraction.
Only if it's a Tom Hanks or an Albert Brooks type.
Yeah.
Like, Tom Hanks is in this movie playing himself.
Doing like a tourism ad for come to the new Grand Canyon, soon to be between Shelbyville and the other town.
The two towns that are closest to
Capital
Springfield.
City,
Yes.
City, that's the one.
Because they're gonna blow a big hole in the ground, and they need tourism.
Yes. Yeah, and of course, Tom Hanks is a big sport, because he always is.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you could have filled this movie with other people and just not drawn attention to it. Like, the South Park movie did that, didn't they? I'm pretty sure
don't
George
remember.
Clooney is in the South
He
Park
is.
movie.
He
and they
is.
don't draw attention to it. He's just there. He has like 3 lines and then he's
playing
gone.
a surgeon.
This is like his
This
ER
is like ER
days.
time, yeah.
So, yeah, they could have done that. And I wish they had. Yes, they had Green Day at the beginning. And they are themselves, and they play the the Simpsons theme.
That's really good. But you could say, hey, Green Day is just happened to have a concert in Springfield that day on a barge in the lake.
Yeah, to draw attention to the pollution in the lake, in which they drown and die.
Drown and die, and then immediately have the funeral there in Springfield.
I like that at the funeral, the pastor says, another band that
Another rock
died
band.
here in town, in our town.
As the organist is playing the organ version of American Idiot.
Yes, she is.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, and it's one of these movies that is full of the sight gags you expect, the quick cuts that you expect.
Yeah,
Itchy and Scratchy start the movie.
And I was the guy, it's another Simpsons reference, basically telling Betsy to stop taking notes. You're missing all the jokes. That's another line.
Do you want me to pay attention to the movie, or do you want me to remember what I wanted to talk about?
God, there are so many just sight gags that are packed into this entire thing. The first one I said was during the Itchy and Scratchy movie that they're showing at the beginning. Itchy comes home a hero, and they're having a parade for him, and there's signs in the background saying Itchy and Hillary
2008. Yep.
Yeah.
And then he wins, and she's there being sworn in.
Yeah,
while he's
Hillary
being
is
sworn
behind
in.
Itchy,
Yep.
being sworn in as vice president.
Yeah. And of course, they get a little bit meta because Homer is complaining, why
Yeah.
would we go to a movie and pay when we could watch the same thing at home for free?
Everybody in this theater is a sucker, especially you.
And he points right at us, the viewer, and it says The Simpsons Movie.
Yeah, and we have the dramatic change from the 4:3 frame to a widescreen, high-definition thing.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't even notice that transition.
I know. I tried to point it out while we were watching.
Well, you told me to look for the sight gags, but I didn't
Yeah.
notice that it changed frame.
As Frank is flying by in his thing that says movie, that's where it says on the big screen.
Nope, didn't
Yep.
see it at all.
Yep.
If
So-
I was just flipping through channels, I genuinely would not know this was a movie if I hadn't seen it. I would have assumed this was just an episode of The Simpsons.
Well, I wanted to talk about that too, because them transitioning to this digital and HD thing was a huge deal, because at this point in the show, they hadn't done that yet.
Were they still hand animating up to this point?
I don't think it was all hand animated. They might have transitioned to just digital, but they weren't HD yet.
Okay.
So like it was digital ink and paint instead of like hand drawing everything onto a frame.
Right. It was done in a computer, but it looked hand-drawn.
Right. So they hadn't completely transitioned over to the HD thing, and I imagine them getting the budget to make this movie allowed them to use that equipment and use that talent and knowledge of making the movie and transition that into the show.
So what you're telling me is they made this movie at long last so that they had capital to pay for the transition to further this show.
Indeed. That is expensive.
I understand that, but that's just a very silly reason to finally make a movie.
Yeah. But I was definitely intrigued by that whole process. And this is kind of back when I was vaguely listening to Simpsons stuff. And
like podcasts. There's a podcast you listen to where somebody was like rewatching all the Simpsons. That came after
that
this.
was much later. Podcasts weren't really a thing in 2007. They started in 2005. And there's like 2 people who had them. Anyway. But yeah, I definitely wanted to point that out. But yeah, we get the meta humor. We get the new intro where they're kind of showing off what they can do with this new technology.
And you can tell if you watch a more recent one, like if you watch an episode from this current season of The Simpsons, it looks a lot more like this movie.
It looks better than this by far.
Well, yeah, now, but I could get that. At the time the movie came out, it was novel.
It was a huge upgrade.
And now they've adopted it. So now it's just like, well, that's just what it looks like on the show now.
It costs like millions and millions of dollars to make this movie. And now it's just like nothing.
Yeah, I'm 15 years too late for this movie. So I'm like, yeah, what's special about it? Because this is what The Simpsons looks like now.
I know. But yeah, you have to put yourself into the context of 2007.
Fair enough. And I didn't watch enough leading into this, and I haven't watched enough since to know the difference.
Yeah. And I haven't seen a brand new episode of The Simpsons for, I don't know, at least 5 years. And if I did, it was by accident.
I watched one in the last year because you had been watching football and left the TV on. And
again,
I was too lazy to get up and change the channel or turn it off. I just left it on and I watched an episode of The Simpsons.
Or, oh no, it was, it's after SNL. After SNL, after midnight, they'll
reruns.
They'll just throw on a recent episode in syndication.
Well, they'll show any episode, but it tends to be more recent.
It tends to be the more recent ones. They're not going to just show a season 5, episode 10 episode of.
So much Simpsons.
There's how many?
33 years worth of The Simpsons or something insane.
Oh God. Yeah, and I wish, as a fan of the early stuff, I wish they had more references to the early seasons and the fan favorites. There's some of it in there for sure.
Okay, so since we're on that topic, you pointed one out, but I have to imagine you picked up on more that I just don't get as somebody who is a casual viewer of this show. So the one you specifically called out is at the climax of the movie, they have the big plot is they have a poison lake. Homer poisons it more. The EPA puts a dome over the city and blames the Simpsons, rightfully so. The Simpsons escape, but then they have to rescue everybody in the town because otherwise they're all going to die. And Homer manages to save everybody, as is customary in this kind of a thing. And as the dome is collapsing, he is riding a motorcycle over the Springfield Gorge.
Yes.
Now, you said this is from an episode in the early days of The Simpsons.
Yes, we'll just get right into the ending here. Homer is riding the motorcycle. He saves everybody. The dome is cracking, and he's riding on all these glass pieces. And it finally goes over to the Springfield Gorge, which is from episode, I think, 10 of season 2.
So early.
Called Bart the Daredevil. Which is to say, Bart wants to jump the Springfield Gorge, and Homer's trying to talk him out of it. At the end of the episode, Homer mistakenly rides the skateboard all the way down the gorge, and he almost makes it all the way across. And there's a little bit of an extra sight gag just for the people who are in the know. the ambulance that is there that crashes into the tree after recovering Homer the first time, and he falls out of it the second time, that ambulance is still there. But other than that particular reference, I didn't pick out a whole lot. Even watching this again and like paying attention, I was expecting like when the house was going down the sinkhole that they were going to throw in some things. I never noticed anything. And in an early episode of the series, they somehow acquire a giant head. Like it's an Olmec head.
Oh, like one of those giant stone statues?
Yes. And it's in their basement. And in like subsequent seasons of the show after they get it, they try to like throw it in the background because the fans are gonna know. Like, what happened to the head? What happened to the head? You need to show the head if it's in the basement.
Well, and there's a lot of running gags through this show. Like, there's the episode with the guy who hates Homer, and Homer's like, do you want to see my Grammy? Like, he's got a Grammy because there's an episode where he won a Grammy.
Yeah.
And they do sometimes do a callback to stuff like that. So you're right. When your entire house is being destroyed in a fire and then sucked into a sinkhole, you would think it would be the Grammy or that or
like Marge going to her keepsake cabinet, and you think there's going to be filled with just references to stuff. It's empty. There's nothing there.
There's little booties and the tape and a book, like a photo album.
Yeah. There's just nothing. And I wish they would have been able to do more of that. And it's not because they didn't have like the original writers and directors and whoever else. All of those original guys are involved in this movie. So you would think that they would have thrown in some of their own stuff. But.
Yeah, for a movie that is, let's face it, this is directed to the fans. It's not enough fan service.
Yeah, it is not a fan service movie at all.
Which I just don't understand. Like, everybody at this point knew what The Simpsons was. It had been on the air for 25 years already. It's one of the biggest, most successful television shows of all time. Mm-hmm. I think at this point, it probably already was the longest running sitcom.
Sure.
And I know you're trying to make a movie, but this movie isn't for everybody. There's a lot of people that loathe The Simpsons. And I don't even know if they loathe it for the right reasons. I think they just do it on principle.
Well, and like
they think they know what The Simpsons is and they have no idea.
Right, and like back in the day in the early 90s and late 80s, like The Simpsons was a crass and tacky thing. If you liked The Simpsons, you were that kind of a person. Mm-hmm. But it has evolved. The writers of this show pretty much all went to fucking Harvard.
It's a smart show.
Yeah.
Even though it's really stupid.
Well,
line.
You would compare the kind of humor in this show to like a Rick and Morty. And there's a lot of people out there who talk about Rick and Morty, and especially the fans of Rick and Morty who say, oh no, you're just not smart enough to get all the jokes. Fuck you. If it's funny, it's funny. You don't have to have a Harvard MBA to understand a dick joke. So in this case, the old adage about The Simpsons being this like, oh, it's immoral, it's this, it's that. No, The Simpsons is actually pretty tame. Even back then, it was pretty tame.
Also, this is one of the few shows I can think of, especially for a show where everybody assumes it's really raunchy. They go to church a lot.
Yes, they do.
This is a family that is constantly attending mass, which is more than I can say for a lot of TV shows. So it's just really funny that people have glommed onto this thing that they're just immoral and awful.
Have you ever heard the story about Barbara Bush and this show?
I probably have from you, but you'll have to refresh my memory.
The short version is, at some point, Barbara Bush put out like a newspaper editorial or something to that effect, or she made a statement about The Simpsons, or maybe it was even the president. I can't remember. It might have been Bush, because he said something to the effect of, I want American families to be more like the Waltons instead of The Simpsons. And the writers of the show took offense to this, and they wrote a letter to the Bushes back in the early 90s, in the voice of Marge Simpson. So Marge wrote a letter to the Bushes saying, you know, I really wish you wouldn't attack my family. We go to church all the time. We're not perfect, but we make it work. And I wish that you would, try to understand things from our perspective and watch us if you want to learn more. And Barbara Bush herself responded to Marge's letter.
Nice.
Yeah. And she said something kind of sweet, saying, I really wasn't expecting to get a letter from you, but I thought it appropriate to respond. And she said something about like her blue hair, whatever else. It was kind of a sweet thing, like a behind the scenes thing that they shared in one of the DVD commentaries. They even have in the extras of that show, they have the letter itself.
Well, I was going to say somebody has that letter.
Yeah.
That is lived on. And yet, just kind of talking about the show at large, there is a lot of heart to this show. Like, this show can sometimes have a lot of feeling and depth in ways that you are not prepared for. There are episodes that will tug at your heartstrings and make you sob. And they do bring some of that, to bring it back to this movie. Like, when they're leaving their house, in her haste to get out, Marge has to get something, and it's her wedding video.
Yeah.
So she runs back into a burning house to get the VHS, because that is what she takes away, her one item.
Yeah.
And later, when she just can't deal with Homer anymore, she proves her sincerity for how much she means what's about to happen.
And she says it in such a serious and somber tone. You never ever hear Marge talk like that.
No, but she records over their wedding video.
Yeah.
To prove how much she means this, because she cannot get through to him any other way.
Yeah.
And that's really sad. And it's just like, oh, geez. And then, they play their song because they're dancing at the end of the video. And Homer sadly slides down a snow slope, and he's in a broken heart-shaped iceberg.
Yeah. There's also a lot of environmental messages in this movie.
Mm-hmm. There's depth to it if you're looking for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a construction here. There is thought put into this movie. It is all the things that you would expect a Simpsons movie to be. Mm-hmm. I just wish it was something I didn't expect it to be.
I wanted it to be a movie and not just a long episode. Mm-hmm. Because you've had these subplots in other things. Bart having a relationship with Ned. Lisa having kind of a boyfriend who is this like European environmental like I can't really put my finger on it. But
he's a boy Lisa, basically, the guy she would be attracted to.
Pretty much. Like, they've had these things before, and they're just rehashing it with another like guest actor that they've had on before, who is great. I have nothing but good things to say about Albert Brooks. I wish he was more famous. But beyond that, having all the, like, as many characters as they could possibly put in here, they kind of needed more.
And they do. And where they go further is just because it's a movie and they could.
Yeah.
So, like, Bart is dared to ride his skateboard naked.
Yeah.
And they do the thing where they are editing out everything that could be exposing him.
Right.
He's covered up.
They're doing the cartoonish thing of covering up his junk as he's driving by.
But then they just show it. Because they can.
As a joke.
As a joke. And they show, like, cartoon Disney animals, like, stripping Marge and Homer before they have sex.
This scene of, like, the fairy tale animals coming in to, like, strip Marge into her negligee and, like, stripping Homer down, and they're having a hard time with Homer.
And they're, like, watching them fooling around, but they didn't show that.
Yeah.
They just showed the animals reacting to it. Bart drinks whiskey in this movie.
Yep.
So it's...
And also at the very end, when Homer and Bart are having their little moment on the dome while they're driving the motorcycle, they're having this little moment, and Marge is on a bullhorn on top of a car saying, "Throw the goddamn bomb!"
And yeah, there's not any swearing, and she does not
That's
curse.
the worst of it right there.
That is it. So, fine. Okay, you did something.
Yeah.
But that's it. Is this a PG movie?
Oh, God.
Because they wanted a lot of people to go to this, and it's still a cartoon, so people have this perception that, oh, we will take families to this.
Yeah.
No, The Simpsons has never been for children.
To a point it has been, much like we always bring this up. Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a kids movie, but there are some adult themes, just like in all Simpsons episodes. You could sit a kid down in front of that, and they would be fine.
And some of it they're gonna get, and some of it they're not.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just wanted more. I would say if I have one thing to say about this movie is I just wanted it to be a movie. I wanted it to be more. I wanted it to push the envelope in ways that I haven't seen from The Simpsons. And it's really frustrating that they had all this time to do it.
Yeah.
And this is what we got.
And you can see why maybe they had a really hard time getting it out, because this is the result. And again, it's not a bad movie. It's not a bad Simpsons episode. You could have completely shrunken this and made an actual episode out of this.
Or just a TV movie. Like, don't put it in the theaters.
Or
it's
a
just
two-parter.
an extra special movie.
Or a two-parter. They even joke about that. There's a to be continued immediately joke.
Right.
Yeah. So, again, I don't really have much else to say about it. The rest of the things that I want to say are all about the show. So, I wanted to touch on one more thing here. I loved the callback when we just mentioned the fairy tale animal thing, where they're stripping Marge down. The animators over the years have loved to make Marge look sexy. They always
underneath
the green pencil skirt dress thing is a hot woman. I love that. The fact that she is with this fat homely man Homer over the years, so many years, and yeah, they are completely in love still.
But it's that same joke that all sitcoms have, where it's the plain schlub of a husband with the super hot wife. Yeah. That 9 times out of 10, that's the sitcom trope.
Yeah.
So the cartoon is no different, because this was born well into the era of sitcoms.
Sure. And of course, we watched this on Disney Plus. And there's a reference in here as Marge and the family are coming back on the train to Seattle. Bart is going through people's luggage, and he makes the joke. He puts a bra on his head, a black bra on his head that looks like mouse ears, and he says, "I'm the logo of an evil corporation."
Which this was well before they were purchased by Disney.
Oops. But it's still there. It's still there.
I mean, they could have taken it out. They've edited other things on their network.
They have edited out a whole lot more stuff. Like the Michael Jackson episode is nowhere to be found on this service.
Oh, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's probably other things from this show that have been taken out.
I'm sure. I haven't discovered them yet. All right. Was there any other lines or jokes or moments you wanted to mention here? Because we're kind of all over the place. We're not really talking that much about the movie itself.
That's because the movie is essentially an episode.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's full of stupid little lines and funny moments that I was pretty amused by.
Yeah.
So they have all the different characters you'd expect. Like Milhouse shows up and he's hitting on Lisa, as he is wont to do. And then Nelson shows up and he says, "Say global warming is a hoax." And Milhouse immediately does it.
He caves
Because he doesn't want to be beaten. And so he hits him anyway, and he says, "That's for selling out your beliefs." They also have the ongoing joke about Springfield and how it doesn't have an identifiable state.
Yes.
So they're out for a walk, Ned and Bart, and they say, from here you can see the 4 states that border Springfield: Ohio, Nevada, Maine, and Kentucky.
That is probably one of the longest running jokes in the entire series, because they even obfuscate the addresses on envelopes and stuff. I remember in one of the commentaries, Homer gets a letter in the mail from something, and it says Springfield NT. And in the commentary, the director says, "Well, in my mind, it stands for North Tacoma." That's a state.
Well, and after I just said this out loud, I remembered when this movie came out. Do you remember the contest they had?
Yeah, they had something.
They had a contest
Yeah.
for towns called Springfield to host the premiere of this movie.
Yeah.
I do not know which one won.
I don't remember.
But it was every Springfield in the United States was eligible to submit themselves. And if they won, they would host the premiere there.
And like the joke about Springfield and why the town is named that, people think that, oh, it's just the most common town name in the country. It's really not.
No.
Like the most common town name is like Four Corners or like
Smithville.
Something about a river, like something shore, North Shore, I think.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, not Springfield.
No.
There are a lot of them.
There
all
are.
over the place.
There's a Springfield, South Dakota. Mm-hmm. That's where the women's prison is. That's the only thing I know about Springfield, South Dakota.
That's more than I knew. Yeah, and then just like little things like Lisa is really upset and Marge tells her, "You're a woman, honey. You can hold on to that forever."
Just hold on to that. I like when Lisa does her, it's a parody of An Inconvenient Truth by Al Gore called An Irritating Truth when she's talking about the lake.
And it's like the headline, "Annoying local girl gets people to clean up the lake," or something
like that. Yeah.
When Homer has his plan to leave Springfield, he knew that one day he'd irrevocably ruin their lives and have to have a backup plan, and his plan is to go to Alaska, and they don't want to go, and he says, "But you're my family, and I've come to like you guys."
Yeah. And of course, when you get to Alaska, they do give you money.
Yeah, they
give
show up.
you money on a regular basis, not just to move there.
Yeah, they show up and they are handed $1,000.
Yeah.
And he's like, about time.
For allowing the oil companies to ravage our
natural beauties.
Our natural beauties, yes.
Yeah, I had some family that used to live in Alaska, and yeah, they just pay you.
Yeah.
Like, to live there. It's also like, there's a lot of reasons for it.
It's mainly the oil companies.
Well, they also just need bodies to live there because you need people to receive funding to do other things in the state.
Sure, you need people there to do the things that need to be done.
Yeah,
period.
it's a ripple effect.
Yes. Much like they were like paying people to move to the oil fields in North Dakota.
Uh-huh.
Like people were getting paid
middle of nowhere.
You were getting paid like $250,000 a year to go and move there and work in the oil fields. And of course, like an apartment there cost like double what we pay for our house.
That's because there's like one apartment building.
Exactly.
It's the middle of nowhere. They have no infrastructure.
And now it's like nothing. There's no reason to live up there anymore because the oil has dried up.
Yeah, they stopped. They stopped that.
Yeah. Anyway.
When they're in Alaska, I liked how Bart was passing the time by creating an avalanche, and he's clapping to do it, and Homer is far away, and he's just like, "Why aren't you clapping, Lisa? Clap for Alaska!"
Clap for Alaska. That's a perfect, like, regular Simpsons episode joke.
Yes.
It's a tossed off line, it's a funny joke, it's got funny consequences, and it just leads into the next scene. It's perfect.
And we don't talk about it again.
Nope. I had a few here. My first one is, the joke about The Simpsons is that they tend to predict things. And in 2007, they made a joke about the NSA listening in on everybody's conversations and bugging things and listening to people's phone calls and shit. Yeah, they predicted what Edward Snowden revealed.
Well, that's kind of one of those. In the early 2000s, we already had a lot of that, the Patriot Act and all that. So this is coming fairly fresh off of that time frame. Yeah,
and it's no secret that the Simpsons writers and whatnot are flaming liberals.
I was going to say, I believe the phrase you're looking for is flaming liberals.
Yes. So, yeah, they wear their opinions on their sleeves, and this is a movie, so they can probably get away with a lot more.
Yeah, they didn't, though. Again, it's that thing where it's like, go farther, go bigger.
Yeah, and just a couple more here. When Homer gets the call, he's about to dump his pig crap. We haven't talked about the pig at all.
Yeah, he gets a pig because it has a hat, and they're going to kill it, and he doesn't want it to be killed.
Indeed. but he has a silo full of pig crap and he has to bring it over to the hazardous waste facility, which you should absolutely utilize if you have a town that has something like this. We do, and we use it all the time.
And most of the time it's free if you're a resident.
If you are a resident of that city, you can use it for free. Just like going to the dump, you got to pay for the dump.
Like paint and shit. If you got paint and chemicals,
right.
Take them. Don't just dump them.
Little PSA from Never Seen It. But he gets a call from Lenny, I think, saying, "Hey, the health department is shutting down the donut store, and they're giving away 3 free donuts. Come and get some."
Which is enough to set him on a trajectory to doom.
Indeed.
Which we didn't even talk about the first thing in this movie, which is Grandpa has starts speaking in tongues and prophesizes the coming
weird,
doom.
Like proclaiming this like premonition he has, and it's just a bunch of gibberish.
But he actually is correct. So he predicts the future, and once again, in prime cartoon fashion, we don't think that's strange.
Right. Marge knows, though. He says, twisted tail, which is the tail of the pig. 1,000 eyes, which is the squirrel that gets mutated. Trapped forever, which is the dome. And EPA.
He keeps screaming EPA.
EPA.
The EPA.
EPA. If you didn't get that...
I didn't get it because I didn't write it down. If I had written it down, I might have seen it.
You would have gotten that. And then when they're up in Alaska, when Homer leaves because he's mad at the family, he goes to Eskimos.
Eskimos. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Not a great joke, but it works.
It is an expected joke, but it makes you go, ha! And that's all you really get. That's the problem with this, is there was a lot of things that are just one-off sight gags that made me go, ha! Like, I had my little Nelson moment. Ha ha!
All right.
And then I moved on with my day. Like, it's funny. This movie's funny. It's not great. It's not earth-shattering. It's nothing new or original or unique or over the top.
If it's anything, I appreciate the original writers and directors coming together to make this not necessarily for the fans, but for themselves, because again, it was in the works for so long, and I'm sure it was a giant accomplishment for them to put it out, and they've teased putting out another movie. They're on Disney Plus now. They're owned by Disney. They have the resources to make another Simpsons movie.
Even if they just put it on here.
I think it's going to happen.
Really?
Yeah.
Like soon or in another 25
years? Within the next couple years. Because I think a lot of the guys who are still in the business are barely in the business. So I feel like if they're going to do it, they got to do it now.
If they want the original people involved.
Yeah. Because a lot of those guys are getting up there in age, and a guy like Harry Shearer, one of the actors, he's not on very good terms with the rest of the company, let's say.
No, that dude phones it in half the time.
Literally.
He doesn't go into the studio.
They installed a special phone in his home so that he never has to go back into the studio again.
They send him the lines.
They did that a decade ago plus.
They send him the lines, he records them, and that's it. He never sees anybody, and that's the end of it.
And unfortunately, we've already had some deaths for some of not the principal actors, but the side characters. So the lady who did Mrs. Krabappel, Marsha Wallace, I think her name is, she passed away recently.
And of course, as the show has aged, some of the characters and the people voicing them has not aged with it.
Yeah.
So Hank Azaria has just said, no, I'm not doing that anymore. The time has come. I need to stop doing that.
Sure, yeah. Apu has been retired, and for good reason. And even the actors themselves, if you watch a recent episode, the actress who plays Marge is way, way raspier than what she used to be.
She used to be up here, and now she's down here.
Yeah,
she's sounding like her sisters.
Right. Yeah, it's really gone downhill, and I feel like I just don't know how long this ride can go.
And there's people out there that could do the voice instead, but they just haven't pursued that option because they've been able to hold on to the original cast for so long.
They have, and it's because they've paid them.
A lot of money.
They've paid them a lot of money.
So much money.
And they have really good contracts.
Yeah. For Yardley Smith, who has one character in this show.
One character.
I would be fascinated to know how much money she has made in the years.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, we could just keep on talking about the Simpsons movie and the show and everything else.
And the potential sequel.
Yes, but I think that's where we're going to have to end it for now. But before we go, we are going to catch up on a couple of emails that we've been sitting on for a while. Stephanie sent us in a couple from back in December. The first one is a very short one. We covered the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. She says, "We love this holiday special. My daughter and I have watched this several times this month. So much fun. We even put on some of the songs on our holiday playlist."
Perfect. Original music to add to the cycle.
I love all the characters, and I feel like they just do a great job. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from Superfan Stephanie. And the other one was a dual email about A Christmas Story and Violent Night. About A Christmas Story, you are so right that what holiday movies your family watches every year speaks to what type of family you have. My family watches every Christmas movie. White Christmas, Christmas Vacation, It's a Wonderful Life, A Christmas Story, Die Hard, etc.
I think your family just really likes Christmas.
Or your family just really likes movies.
Maybe both.
Yeah. So I think that we're just Christmas movie lovers, she
like
says.
I said.
All right. Anything and everything. We did not eat meatloaf growing up, but my mother-in-law makes meatloaf, and it is pretty good. Now, I have a couple of different recipes of my own, one with barbecue sauce instead of ketchup, and bacon on top.
I think you could get on board with bacon.
You'd
at least try it.
I would get on board with that kind of a thing. At least try it, like you said. But like the standard, like ketchup and meatloaf, it's unappetizing to me.
How it looks, it freaks you out.
I don't even know how it looks. Like how it tastes is bad enough. But she says, I definitely started swearing with friends at like 9 or 10, but not in front of my parents until I was 18. Wow.
I still don't really swear in front of my parents.
You don't.
I hold back. My mom's a very sweet lady and reserved, and she doesn't swear. Like, I can maybe think of one time my mom barely said a curse word, and it was like one of the softer ones.
Yeah, like your dad does not hold back, especially
No.
when he's not like out in public. But even then, he'll let it loose sometimes.
If he's watching football.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I think I mentioned in that episode where like I think I was pushing the line by saying the word crud in front of my mother when I was like 10. Mm-hmm. And even that, like I started to use it more and more. And she's told me one time, maybe just to kind of hold back and don't. Not because she thought it was a bad word, but she thought I was pushing the line of saying it so often.
She probably also knew what you actually meant when you said it.
I suppose. Anyway, back to the email. I definitely agree with Trent. I prefer opening presents one by one. Growing up, we did that with each family, no matter how many of us there were. I have 12 cousins on one side and 8 on the other. We did start drawing names at one point to make it go faster. Now that all my cousins are adults, we do white elephant gifts. But everyone still waits and watches everyone as they open up their presents.
I'm not disagreeing with this point, but I can't control what other people do.
It's true. I like to have a wrangler when it comes to that kind of thing. Like when Betsy and I open up the presents with my family, with my parents anyway, we always have Christmas at our house with my folks. They come over, we make dinner.
Small group.
It's a very small group. Between the 4 of us or 6 of us sometimes, we'll open up presents one by one because there aren't that many people. At most, I think, what is your family? What, like 14, 16-ish?
If every single person came with a spouse or significant other, plus my parents, plus the kids, hang on, 6, 12.
Carry the one.
22 people.
Yeah, that gets out of hand, and yeah, I get it.
And that's just the immediate family.
Assuming everybody got gifts.
And assuming everybody is there on the same day.
I don't know if that's ever happened.
No, because there's new ones that are pretty fresh.
I know. One of these days, Betsy. everybody will have to come home.
One day.
All right. Back to the email. There is a sequel to this movie that came out this year called A Christmas Story Christmas, and it's great. Ralphie is an adult, and he brings his family back to his hometown for the holidays.
I've heard it's pretty cute, so maybe one day we'll look into that one.
Yeah, and I understand that there was like a Christmas Story 2 that came out a little bit afterwards that people just want to kind of forget about.
They sort of reject it, and canonically, the new one is the sequel, the true sequel.
Yeah, and that seems better. Anyway, back to the email, and now we're talking about Violet Night. She says, OMG, this was amazing. We just went ahead and bought it on Amazon Prime because it just felt like one we would love.
That's the right call.
Bingo!
You did the right thing, Stephanie.
David Harbour is fantastic. The little girl is adorable, and John Leguizamo is clearly having a blast. My daughter watched Home Alone for the first time this year. She is only 3, but super loved it and demanded to watch it 4 or 5 more times.
Wonderful. Smart kid, that
Perfect.
one.
Good parenting, too. I love Grumpy Drunk Santa, so amazing. I love all the Christmassy ways to kill people, so fun. That's a weird sentence to read. This will definitely be a yearly rewatch for us. Love, superfan Stephanie.
We had fun these holidays.
Yeah, that was a fun series to do. I always like having, like, our annual series are my favorites because we do our Never Scream It. Now it actually has a name. We have our holiday series. We have, we're going to eventually do our, like, decades series again sometime this year. I don't know when.
In 2023.
Thank you. And there's some other ones that will eventually become annual. It's very easy, you guys, to come up with categories, I'm going to say.
There's so many movies.
With, like, different series to do.
So many movies.
But, like, putting them all down and thinking of really good ones that go together, that's the hard part.
That are not repetitive and stupid.
The stupid ones are, Anyway, I'm going to end the episode. If you would like to be like Stephanie and email us, the email address is neverseenitpod@gmail.com. We have social media pages all over the damn place. Go to the episode description and click on the links there. I'm going to stop reading those off because I think you're going to know it by now. But I will say I want you to click the link in the podcast description, the first one that says to go to a page on Anchor to support the show. Throw us $1 on there if you would like to support these here shenanigans.
I like shenanigans. I like to be paid for shenanigans.
We haven't been to Shenanigans in a very long time.
That is a place that is near us, but they moved way too far away.
They moved way on the other side of town.
It's exhausting to think about going over there.
It's so far. It's so far. Anyway, thank you, Betsy, for being my co-host today and for enduring this movie for me.
For indulging you in your high school and college.
My Simpsons geekdom. That is the end of the episode. This has been Never Seen It. My name is Trent.
My name is Betsy.
And we'll be back to you next time.
Bye, guys.